Gulshan Devaiah, the name needs no introduction or qualification. After delighting us with stellar parts in Guns and Gulabs as Atmaram and as Devi Singh in The Heart, he's ready to change his identity in Duranga.
Yes, ma'am, you're right. Yeah, there is some dualities to my character in Duranga, which was which was shrouded under mystery in season one, but in some aspects of it have been uncovered, and more will be discovered in season two.
So you worked in a lot of original series.
Yeah.
This one is an adaptation of a Korean one, Flowers of Evil. And so what made you say yes to this?
When it was pitched to me, Goldie Bahel got in touch with me, and then we talked about it, and the scripts were sent to me, and then I told him I don't want to watch the original series at all, and I want to have a very open interpretation as to how I'm going to play this particular character. Do you think you can give me that freedom? They said, yeah, of course. Like, you don't be influenced at all. Have your own interpretation. And then Mr. Pradeep Sarkar was also one of the directors who was attached to it. We all know the kind of accomplishments he's had as a director, as a storyteller. So that was also a great plus point for me. Coupled with the fact that they were giving me a lot of creative freedom to interpret the character. So I think I made an exception. Generally, I'm not a big fan of remakes, but I did make an exception for this because it seemed like, that they're trying to sort of have a different perspective, and there was no limitations on us trying to be creative. So that seemed like a good idea.
So you didn't see this one, but I mean, like all of us are right now great fans of Korean series.
Oh, I haven't watched a single one. No,
one? Huh?
I haven't watched a single one. No, I haven't watched anything at all yet.
So in the second season, Amit Saad gets to play a pivotal role. When you are there in any series or any movie, the general refrain is कि गुलशन तो सबको कच्चा चबा जाएगा. So is there whether you are the lead hero or not? But my question is whether you have been any insecure about any of your co-actors.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Amit is definitely leading one of the leading parts. Me, Amit, and Drashti, I would say, are the leading characters in this series. I don't. At some point in my life, I think I had a little chat with myself, saying that having a competitive spirit is good, but then it shouldn't be detrimental to your mentality, professionalism, or your career. So I came up with ways to sort of deal with them and overcome them. I'm not particularly bothered. I just cannot be comfortable with the fact of eating somebody on a scene, kha jayega, something like that. I'm very uncomfortable with that concept.
Okay.
And when people tell me that I do that to other people, I feel a bit upset, because my goal is to always work with other people and not really try to outshine them or over things like that. But I guess sometimes people have this. It's a way of showing appreciation also for people, saying that "Arey tum to kha gaye guru, bahut bhai pada tum wo actor pe," and stuff like that. So I just don't take it seriously at all, because I know it's not true, and you have to always work with all the people who are involved. It's a collaborative effort.
I mean, acting is as much a chemistry as an individual.
Yeah, and sometimes you do have. Sometimes it's easy to make that chemistry. Sometimes you have to work a little hard. But with experience, you also learn how to manage people. And the calmer you are, the more accepting you are, receptive you are, then it becomes easier also to sort of make some adjustments according to personalities.
So you spoke about Pradeep Sarkar. You worked with the very best there are, whether it's Sanjay Leela Bhansali, Reema Kakti, or Rajan TK.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know. Suddenly I realized.
Everyone who's who matters.
Divakar Banerjee, I have done Divakar Banerjee.
Yes.
Not bad. I really
Vasan Bala. I mean, the list could go on and on. Yes. But I mean, when you sign a project, how much do directors matter, and whether they figure somewhere in your mind when you say yes to something?
Yes, to some extent, yes. Like for example, when marquee directors come to you, it does definitely create a point of excitement. But it can't be only about that. I think what is more important for me is to understand their sensibilities and their perspective on the story that they're telling. How do they see this character that they offered you? How do they see this story play out? How do they, and then into more finer details, how do they see each of the scenes playing? How would they shoot it? You know, what is the sensibility? I think if I understand the sensibilities of the directors, I am able to also tailor my performance to suit that. You have to serve the sensibility. That's how I put it. So, which means having more conversations with the directors or being familiarized with their work, talking to them. It could be anything. So I try my best to sort of get a feel for who these people are, and not so much as individuals, but as storytellers. What are they trying to say? I need to understand that so I can serve the sensibility.
But are you more comfortable with any one particular director if you're working with them again, as with Rajan DK, you worked twice with
Sure,
them?
yeah, Rajan
Yeah.
DK or
Hmm.
Harshvardhan Kulkarni,
Yeah.
because there is a there's a yeah. I think I'm sometimes you do have like I enjoyed working with Mr. Bansali, but I don't think it's just I can just go and pick up where I left and then do that. I think it's not as simple because of their personalities also, and some people's personalities are that way. But I think I would find it very easy to sort of pick up where I left when it if it came with Harshvardhan or Vasan or Rajan DK. It's like really
And
easy to get back.
what,
Yeah.
what about the director of
Or even Konkana, actually. Konkana, who made a fabulous movie. I think it would be really easy to sort of get back.
and what about Rohan Sippy, who happens to be the director
I
of?
really enjoyed working with him. I was so glad that he was part of season 2. I wish he was part of season 1 also. I really Rohan. I have a great admiration and respect for the professional that he is, and he also gave me a really good opportunity really early on in my career. So in a way, I do have some gratitude because I really messed up the auditions. They auditioned me for a variety of characters, and I think I did a terrible job in almost all of them. Yet he called me, and then they did rehearsals with me for 1 week, and I was part of that film. And I asked him during the filming as to I gave terrible auditions. Why did you pick me? But he said, yeah, your auditions weren't very good. But then I saw some capabilities in you. There was something in you that really interested me, and I thought that it will come through. So he gave me. My first time people saw me in a film was in his film Dam Maro Dam, and my part was reviewed so well. That was also the first time I was reading people write reviews about me, and it was all so good and positive, which meant that he gave me a good part and it was a good opportunity. So
But are
the,
auditions an integral part of your, I mean, like working even
not so
now?
much now.
Now
Yeah,
just offer you on a platter.
mostly it's I mean not really platter. It's yeah, a box of chocolates perhaps. Yeah.
A box of chocolates, okay. On a box of chocolates.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, mostly it comes like as offers, but there are some times when you do tests. Like I had to do an audition for the heart. Some directors are, yeah, but I've always, picked in. So I don't really enjoy the audition process, so I'm very reluctant to do that. But sometimes, if something is really interesting, then I think I do give it a shot. And then but mostly yeah, it's just directly approached now. It's just after, I think, here in our business, after you have a certain body of work, people kind of become interested in you for certain parts for variety of reasons, be it marketability, visibility, or ability, or a combination of all of those. So then it comes to you directly.
Your character, especially in this one, has often been described as, Doctor, yeah, as Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Do you believe in this kind of a binary, and whether Jekyll and Hyde exists in all of us, including you?
Sure, I'm a Gemini, so definitely there are two sides to me, and sometimes more.
Uh,
Yeah, and then we do have dualities, and sometimes it's also a clinical condition in people that creates dualities. certain disorders like schizophrenia or bipolar disorders, stuff like that. So it could be any of these reasons, but and sometimes we also contradict ourselves. We say something, but we do something else, and we may be critical of somebody doing something, but then we, without thinking, may do that, and we find no fault in us having done the same thing that we were criticizing somebody else for. So it can be a variety. All of these things are dualities. So yes, it does exist in all of us to some degree or the other.
But playing a bad guy, I mean, like in Atmaram or like your character in Duranga, as opposed to this earnest, nice guy cop in Dahar,
Yeah.
what more challenge? Is it more challenging to play the bad guy?
Not really. I mean, it sometimes it can be challenging, particularly when you have to be really violent or something like that. Because as I was mentioning, you have to accept the reality of what's written on paper as the reality for that character. And sometimes our own personalities and our morals, our views of our points of view of looking at the world may interfere with that. And usually when that happens, I don't take up those parts. And it's happened a few times. I found things that, like, I think I can't agree. Gulshan has a problem with some of these things. I can't accept it completely. So I won't be able to honestly, deliver a performance. But otherwise, it's not like really, once you spend enough time and you do enough work, pre-production work or thinking about the characters, and things progressively start to get easier also. And by the time I'm on set, it's not really that difficult. And mostly it's just like, oh, it's just very hot or cold. So, that is the only thing that sometimes that bothers me. What was the other aspect? I would contest the fact that Duranga is a negative character. I would contest that if somebody would slot that as a negative character. It appears there are dualities of the character. It appears that he is a bad person, but it's also kind of established towards the end of season 1 that he's perhaps not what we thought he was. So that is something that I would contest.
Okay. We often say out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But in your case, I mean, like, do you think there is also a too much of a good thing? Familiarity breeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are seeing a lot of you. I mean, are you
Yeah.
planning,
I
take
have
a
to
break?
slow down. Yeah. I have to slow down a little bit. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be found out.
You played, every conceivable character I can think of. There is from a bad guy to a good one to a romantic hero. But is there anything that you're, trying to play?
Not really. Like, I don't make such lists because I feel that they limit me.
Hmm.
Maybe it works for other people as motivation, but I think limits me. I'm open for surprises. I would love for people to come up with new things, new stories, new characters, and offer it to me and say, interpret this for us. So that would be more exciting for me. And, I would like to think that I'm on an endless river. I'm rowing a boat on an endless river, and perhaps one day I'll just be tired. I don't know. I don't have any destination. It's I want to enjoy the journey as much as possible, and hopefully there won't be any rapids along the way.
But with each performance, you raise the bar. So how do you keep
Thank you.
complacency? But how do you keep complacency away? I mean, when you reach there,
Just
you think that you already reached there. Where what more to achieve? But you somehow managed to. I mean, like as you said, you managed to surprise us with each performance.
I do. Fear of complacency is definitely there, and particularly with season 2, I was a bit skeptical, and I did chat about this with Goldie Bell also, and Drashti, my co-actor. Like I just, I don't want to just like, yeah, we've done this before, and I know it should be easy, but I need to do my revisions properly because I don't want to be complacent saying that, oh, it worked well. And it so happens sometimes that, and it's human nature also. You do something, you work really hard for it, you prepare well, and it's a massive success. And then you have to continue doing that. And you're like, yeah, I've done this before, I can do this again. So complacency can easily set in, particularly when something is well received and is successful. But the fact that I was able to be conscious about that made me, uh, uh, I was happy that at least uh, I don't know if it was just by chance or that I have developed that maturity. I don't know which one it is, But I was happy that I was able to sort of hold myself back and tap myself on the shoulder and say, hey, just beware, don't be complacent.
And your fan sites, they list your best roles, seven best roles of Gulshan, seven most challenging, and stuff like that. But do you have a favorite role?
I was part of all of them because I really wanted to be part of them. I could pick one as being the most difficult. That would be my part from Ghost Stories, where I was a monster. It was difficult because it was extremely physically challenging because my whole body I was in full body prosthetics and very painful lenses, and I could barely move, stand, going to the toilet was just very impossible. So uh, I was extremely proud that I did something very difficult, but that was mentally, physically the most challenging thing I've ever done. But I don't have any favorites as such. I like all of them. I think that's for people to have their own opinion. So I welcome, like some people think that, Hunter was my best performance. Some people still say Shaitan was your best. And some people say your best is ahead of you, which I'd like to think that my best is definitely ahead of you.
And what else ahead of you? Where else are you going to surprise us?
I hope I mean, I'm trying. I'm currently filming a series. It's a comedy drama, and I don't want to like divulge too many details about it. But it's a wonderful cast. It's got very experienced actors as well as some new wonderful child actors. I'm really enjoying working with them, and I've completed a film recently called Ulaj, which has Janvi Kapoor also in it. I mean, that was fun because we shot most of it in London in lovely weather during the summer. I really liked it. So that was great to be there. And John is very hardworking. So these are some of the things that I think that I am currently looking forward to. I'll be starting something new from December also, but a new genre, something exciting. But I don't want to talk too much about it right now.
and and
Let there
com-
be some mystery.
and comedy is a good break from thrillers, you think, for audiences and
No,
for actors.
no, I enjoy working and watching all such things. Horror is something that I don't really enjoy as an audience, so which is why I think I'm very reluctant taking up roles in horror films or horror projects. But having said that, I did one also with Divakar, and I'm trying to overcome this negative bias of mine. And maybe in the future, I will take up something interesting, some interesting horror project. That's something that I've been reluctant. Apart from that, I'm open for any kinds of various slapstick comedies or intelligent comedies or very avant-garde niche. Like I'd like to see how, as an actor, how I can serve those sensibilities.
But in Guns and Gulabs, I know you said somewhere that your reference came from Sanjay Dutt.
Only
Sanjay
the
Dutt,
hairstyle. The
only the
hairstyle.
okay, but
But it's really funny, Monica. Many people was like, oh, you're like exactly like Sanjay Dutt. You're that walk and everything. I never really even tried to do Sanjay Dutt. It's just that people want to see Sanjay Dutt. They see Sanjay Dutt.
okay. Whether you have such referral points, when you enact a character.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I have referral points. But for Guns and Gulabs, there were no reference. My original reference point was Javier Bardem from as Antoine Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. That was actually my original reference. The first time I read the script, I kind of said that an already existing performance is my reference. But then it evolved into like many other things. But definitely, if I have to say that if there was a reference for that, it's more Javier Bardem than Sanjay Dutt actually.
And I mean, like all of us are going gaga over OTT, but you've done a lot of movies, a lot of your
Yeah.
theatrical had a lot of theatrical releases. Would you today prefer an OTT series over a theatrical outing? You've done splendid work, but many of them have not worked so well in
Yeah.
cinemas.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. No, I'd like to do both. I think long format is something I don't enjoy working on shorter formats. So I think feature length formats and series formats are something that I really enjoy because they're longer formats. So you get to spend more time with the character. There's a definite arc. You get more time to sort of show various aspects of this character. And with the series format also, you can explore many different characters at the same time, which the feature lengths usually don't give you this that leeway because of time limitations. So, but I do enjoy both of them, and I think I will continue to do so.
And we've seen many shades of you on screen. But what is real Gulshan like?
Shy, reserved, a bit introverted,
Really?
yeah, and then lazy.
Hmm. Lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy in what sense? Does
In many aspects, I just if I have free time, I just don't do anything. I'd like to do nothing with it. So I'm always like I feel that I don't make enough effort to meet friends or like family and things like that. It's just like I'm too lazy. Even around the house also, like sometimes there are many things that I want to do. Like I'm going to organize this, and I just end up not doing any of those things. Even with a lot of my prep also, like I get very excited and I write down so many things that I want to do this work on this, and then I end up like just wasting 2 3 days doing nothing, and then I'm like, I wanted to do all those things, I didn't do it, and at the end of it, I'm like, I wish I had prepared better. I feel like
no, but
it's got a lot better. I'm a lot less lazier now than when I was probably much younger, uh, because I'm smarter also now.
on screen, none of your laziness shows. You are always
Mm.
on point. How do you that then if you're lazy?
But laziness can be definitely an asset also, But if you look at it from the perspective, a lazy person does less things, so you also get into less trouble.
Yeah, yeah. But you're doing a lot of things.
It just seems like that. That's all. Because this year I've had like 4 releases. It just seems like a lot, but it's actually quite nicely casually paced.
And it's been like how many years now? 13 years in the industry.
Yeah, yeah. It's a 2011 was my first year, so
So, how do you look back at your journey? Happy man.
very happy. Yeah, very satisfied. I'm a working actor. People like me, respect me. They have so much appreciation. You yourself used words of appreciation to describe my career and my work. So it's definitely very satisfying. Of course, it could have been better, but it could have been worse also. But I'm glad that it's not worse.
Better in some terms of box office figures, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All of those things. These things impact your career positively, and your life positively. So I have the awareness of what it can do for you. But something that I wish to not really. I can't really only chase box office figures or that kind of tangible, measurable successes. Uh, but
Okay.
I'm aware of the impact that it can have. So I mean, people like me who come from outside, this is the thing that you have to learn. You have to learn how the system works, how perceptions work, what you can control, what you cannot control, what you should be bothered about, what you shouldn't be bothered about. All of those things you have to learn from scratch, and that's the advantage that people have who already children of people who work in the business, because they understand a lot of these things really early on, and that helps them negotiate their careers and approach things.
You mean they
So
can take setbacks more easily?
no, not really about setbacks, but they know how things work. They know how perception works, how people are. For example, they already understand the impact of your film having made enormous amounts of money. They know how empowering that is.
So you would like to achieve that.
Anybody would like to achieve that. Am I chasing it? I would never chase it. But if it happens, it'll be great.
And
I don't want
so
to think about how people will perceive what I'm doing when I'm doing it. I don't want to. I want to be focused on what I'm doing. I don't want to think whether this will be a success, will be a flop, whether people like it or not. If I like something, if I find something, if I want to be part of it, I have to sincerely, honestly devote as much time as possible and just focus on doing that. That's all I have done. And if people like you are appreciative of my work, it's because that's my process.
not just me, you have a huge fan base. I mean, like, what would you say? What would Super Gulu say to all those, that ever increasing number of fans?
Thank you so much. I'm filled with gratitude. I know that it's a subjective field, and likes and dislikes are perception. The fact that you all have a positive perception about me makes me feel really happy. So thank you so much. I'm filled with gratitude.
And last question: one favorite actor or actress of yours?
There are lots of them. There's really tons of them. It's so difficult to just pick one or the other. It's really difficult.
No, but maybe one performance that may have been game changer for you to
Yeah,
pursue this.
the first time I saw this movie and I saw this performance, and is when I realized that acting is much more than what it seems. It's a
Which
craft.
one?
Like, it was a film called French Connection. It's from 1974, but I think I watched it in
Maybe.
94, 1994 perhaps on TV. Uh, and Gene Hackman. I watched both French Connection 1 and 2, and I was like,
Oh.
my mind, I was like, I couldn't believe that this person was acting, that it is a performance that somebody is doing. It felt so real. Everything, all the emotions that he was going through, uh, which kind of forced me to think about like this. There is more to acting than what, style or a way of or mannerisms or expression or something. There is a thought process which I don't understand, and I wanted to desperately try and understand that. So I think that was the first time. Then when I sat up and I was like, this can't be real, because I know it's acting, but it seems so real.
So that is important. Acting should not seem like acting. Is that important?
It depends on the sensibilities. It really depends. It's how people feel it. Daily. For example, if in a scene I'm crying, it doesn't really matter how I brought the tears. It's how you feel when you're looking at that. So that's the reality. That's all one should care about. But having a sincere and honest approach really helps you hit those emotions, get to those emotions also in a more authentic way, and that also kind of their impact also translates to people who are watching. So these things in 1994, I didn't know that acting is a craft. I just thought it is a style, because different actors have a different style. Like Dharminder talks in a different way, Rajesh Khanna talks and romances a different way. So I thought it's a style.
At that point, you thought, but now you think, now you realize that
It's a
it's not
craft. Yeah, it's a craft.
craft.
Like
And what
learning
about internalizing?
both internalizing, externalizing. Like there are various things. There's no one way of doing it. It's just like it's almost like a magic trick, and maybe every magician will have a different way of performing a trick. It's you don't know how they did it, and you shouldn't really care about how they did it. Just enjoy the trick. So I would summarize,
So
performance.
so you won't reveal yours. You won't reveal your trick.
To a very large extent, I won't. There are a lot of bag of tricks, but then to a large extent, I'm not a big fan of discussing things or things like that. But I would definitely say it's a craft, and you should practice it. And with practice, things definitely get better and easier as well.
So let the mystique of Gulshan Devaiah remain on screen and off screen, right? Okay, thank you so much for your time.